Good morning. Happy Monday. And truly, I mean happy Monday. All right, let's see what we can do with that. So, I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, America's kick-ass coach and psychologist, here with your early morning intuitive guidance to add a little wisdom for us to chew on for the day, think about, have reactions to, etc. Our card for today comes from the Oracle of E deck by Pam Grout and Colette Barron-Reed. Good morning, Linda. Glad you're here. And the card today, I'm going to preface it by saying that I think it's a little flippant. Good morning, Diane. But the point is well taken. I just think we may need a little, a kinder, gentler route to get there. Okay? So know that, take the message as it's delivered with that proverbial grain of salt, and then we'll go from there. So the card is Baggage Begone. And it says, Baggage Begone. Come on now. Aren't you tired of being stooped over from all that emotional baggage? The thing is, it all happened yesterday. This is now. And with one flick of your powerful, energetic finger, you can send that old has-been baggage overboard into the drink. Good morning, Lisa. Welcome, welcome. It is high time to fly free. Let it go, my friend. So, again, I think this is a bit flippant with regard to trauma. So, but let me give you my version, the Bonnie version of this. There's, good morning, Cindy. Welcome. There is a book by, I'm blanking on his name. It'll come to me. Anyway, that's called The Body Remembers. And the gist of it is that trauma responses get kind of hardwired into the body, which I agree with. I worked with a whole lot of Vietnam vets, and if something dropped behind them, they were on the ground. So, and I know for myself as a trauma survivor, you make a loud noise behind me and you're going to peel me off the ceiling. But I think the other part of this, what do I want to call it? The conscious part of this, a lot of that operates at the subconscious level. It's survival mode stuff. At the conscious level of this, we can choose to begin to turn this over to spirit, to release the trauma from our mind, body, spirit, etheric being, etc. And the first thing that we do in order to do that, and first of all, think in your life, where is something that you have the story of what happened? Perhaps it's your divorce, perhaps it's something bad that happened in school, perhaps it's the death of a parent, whatever event it was, that you have your story. Good morning, Kelly. And you oftentimes hear yourself telling this story. And it has a pattern to it, the story. Excuse me, I got a tickle this morning. And when you catch yourself retelling the story, I want you to stop. As best you can, I want you to put the brakes on that story, because every time we tell our story, a groove gets worn in our brains around that story. And if it's a victim story, this is what happened to me, not this is what happened for me, we're stepping into a mindset that I don't think, that is kind of what this card is talking about, baggage begone. We're creating more baggage for ourselves to carry. So our bodies carry trauma kind of automatically. We take things on. And there's all these interesting treatments out there for trauma that are designed to help our bodies let it go. So when we're doing brain spotting or EMDR or EFT or somatic re-experiencing or any of those techniques that are designed to help release trauma, part of what they're doing is trying to erase those grooves we've created in our brains around the trauma story. So, on a conscious level, we can begin to release that trauma story now. All right? And where it says in the card, the thing is, it all happened yesterday. This is now. On one level, yes. On another level, it doesn't matter that the Vietnam War ended in 1975. There's still guys having flashbacks, right? So we need to accommodate that piece in a way that works for people. Using the tools can be very helpful. My point today, though, is I want us to decide where we're going to use the tools. When we survey our life stories, what are the ones that, it can go a couple of directions. Either get us all worked up again, or bum us out and lay us low for a couple of days. Those are the stories we want to target. Those are the stories we want to let go of. So, a couple of things I'd like you to think about. Who will you be without that story? Who will you be without that story? And what do you stand to lose when you release that story? What do you stand to lose when you release that story? And I'll just give you one example. If I'm working with somebody who's on disability for a traumatic event, if they release enough of the traumatic event that they can function again, how are they going to get their feet back under them, get back into the workforce, release the disability payments, etc.? It's not an easy process. And it's good to have us think it out ahead of time and work that through and come up with. And the system has gotten a little better. The system has gotten a little better in terms of not chopping people off in terms of their disability payments. There's more leeway in the middle now as they're easing their way back into having a fuller life. But so who will you be without that trauma? And what do you stand to lose if you let go of that trauma? Do people cut you slack because of the fallout from your trauma? Well, don't ask her to do that because she's not, doing real well, blah, blah. Are you going to have to deal with your own and others' expectations of who you're going to be now once you release some of that trauma and are more able to be present in everyday life? So those are all things to think about. But in terms of doing that release, let's just do a little chunk together right now. So I want you again to go back to that story you tell yourself and others about that traumatic event. Again, it can be a divorce, can be a car accident, can be an injury, a physical injury you've sustained, whatever. And whatever that story is that you tell, I want you to just pick out the energy, the valence of that story. When you launch into your rendition of that story, what do you feel and where? Like for me, a lot of times I'm thinking about one particular story. There's a pull in my solar plexus. It just feels tight and there's a pull there. So let's target that. And I'm getting the hit that we need to do some tapping today. So let's start with the side of the hand. And if you can, repeat out loud. Obviously nobody can hear you on my end. And if someone can hear you on your end, you can mutter it under your breath or you can say it in your mind. But if you can say it out loud, great. So, even though I've been telling this story a long time, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm not sure who I will be without this story, I'm willing to find a new way. Even though this story has had all kinds of unintended outcomes, I am ready to release it. Now, if you got glasses, you might want to take them off. Inside corner of the eyebrow. This story I've told, Outside corner of the eyes, this trauma story. Under the eyes, I think I'm ready to release it. Under the nose, it does not serve me. Under the mouth, and even if there are some secondary gains, the costs are too big. Collarbone, I don't want to feel crappy because of this story. Under the arms, again, this story does not serve me. Around the crown of the head, this story I've told myself. Here comes my dog. Hopefully he's not going to bark. Inside corner of the eyebrows. He's going to bark. We'll just pretend we don't hear him. He'll quit as soon as the guy drives off. Inside corner of the eyebrows. I'm ready to release this trauma story. Outside corner of the eyebrows. I'm ready to make some space for a new story. Under the eyes. It's time for a new story. Under the nose. I'm ready to benefit from my new story. Under the mouth. I can feel it releasing from my body. I can feel the collarbone. I can feel the open space it's creating. Under the arms, I tolerate this open space, knowing it will be filled with a new story. Around the crown of the head, no more trauma stories in my life. We're going to do one more round, guys. Inside corner of the eyebrows, letting go of this old story. Outside corner of the eyes, opening space for a brand new life. Under the eyes, being willing to feel this discomfort. Under the nose, changing from the familiar but painful. Under the mouth, to a new story that serves me better. Collarbone, letting this go. Under the arms, embracing a new me. And around the crown of your head, ready to step forward in faith and trust. Take a nice deep breath. Let it go. And I want you to check in with your body, especially that part where you carried that story. And just notice, does it feel any different? Does it feel lighter, fresher, freer? Maybe it feels the same. That's okay. You may want to do some more rounds after the fact. The video will be up. You can do as many rounds as you want to do. You can also put a number on it. Scale from 0 to 10. 0 being I'm not feeling it at all. 10, it's making me want to jump out of my skin and run screaming into the night. Okay? And then you can just keep periodically reassessing it to see if that number changes. Ideally, you'd like to get down to a 0 or a 1. Really low. Okay? So, again, going back to our card here. Baggage begone. Baggage begone. We're moving into a whole new way of operating in our world. I'm sure a lot of you, good morning, Carrie. I'm sure a lot of you can feel the up-leveling that's going on and the turmoil that is pushing that up-leveling. So for your part, for your benefit, doing this release process of old trauma stories and moving yourself into a more open space where the new story can come in. And again, there might be discomfort there when you've let go of the old and you haven't yet attained the new, but knowing that you can, it's kind of like labor and delivery. There may be a time in there where you're a little bit uncomfortable waiting for the new thing to birth itself. See what you can do to ride through that discomfort. Breathing is always a good tool. That's why they came up with Lamaze. Breathing is always a good tool to get you through the uncomfortable period to get to the other side where all the good stuff is. All right? So, that was an interesting little journey we took today. I had no idea we were going to go there, but I did want to mitigate some of the flippantness in terms of that card. And I understand where they're coming from with that, because they are in a place where they are firmly grounded in the idea that we create our lives. As within, so without. And that's where they're coming from. And that's why they could afford to be a little bit cheeky about the card. Those of us who are still in the process of getting to that bigger space may need a little gentler approach to that. So, have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are. And Lisa says it was great to tap together. Yes, she's been tapping for 3 years. It's incredibly helpful and calming. Yes, yes, yes. Their research, let me think. My brain always does this with names and stuff. TheTappingSolution.com, their research shows, on average, across all people, 41% reduction in anxiety using tapping. That's a pretty good chunk. That'll knock you from a 10 to a 6. That's improvement. That feels good. Then you can keep going from there. Usually when you get to the point where you feel like, okay, the number's not moving, what's that about? There's something under there that needs a little extra tweak. And that might be something that I could help you with. It would, for those of you who are interested, I do have my Black Friday specials going. So 3 session packages and 8 session packages are on sale. You can check that out on my event page. But again, have an awesome day. Baggage be gone. We're letting stuff go through tapping, through the breath, etc. See you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.